Yeah. Okay, I'll start with an injury update. Crescencio Summerville picked up an injury in the last training we had before the Palace match, which is really unfortunate because he's been in really good form, and he twisted his ankle and he will be done for the season, unfortunately. So that one was disappointing. And then Adam is moving forward in a good way, but still, it'll be some time for him. Patrick has been making progress, and we're still hopeful that we can see him later in the season. And then Tyler's making good progress as well. But I think other than that, everyone else is fully healthy and ready to go. The last thing I'll say is, we're obviously excited for a big match. Yeah, we think it's the best team in the world against the best club in the world. So you can decide which is which.
Hi, Jesse. You're on this 5-match unbeaten run that you sort of just touched on it there, Manchester City. Is this the ultimate test for your side, and how do you approach a game like this?
Yeah, I think it is an ultimate test, maybe the ultimate test. And I'm very honest when I say that I think they're the best team in the world. The talent they have, I think, speaks for itself. Their manager does an incredible job of creating a tactical model that is very complex, and one that the players understand very, very well and are able to execute very well. And it's one that's incredibly difficult to defend against. And that's what you see more often than anything, is that Man City has an ability to control the match over time by their quality and their movement and their ideas and their ability to unbalance you and often unbalance you in one area and then attack you in another. And so we will have to be very clear with exactly what our tactics are for the day, what our strategies are for the day. And we have to find moments to not just be passive throughout the match, because that's what happens is they can put so much pressure on teams with the ball and then with their counter-pressing that they just suffocate teams. And we have to be confident and better with the ball, and then we have to understand the moments that strategically we can still be aggressive. That's not easy, but a massive challenge. But hopefully on the day we can use our crowd and find ways to find advantages and see if we can fight for a result.
The team was conceding too many goals before you took over. You just had back-to-back clean sheets. How have you managed to tighten up defensively, and how difficult is it to strike that balance between being tight at the back and still scoring goals? Yeah,
I would say that in all areas we have so much work to do still. So the fact that we've gotten results and that we've fought in front of our goal to do whatever we can to not give up goals has helped us gain momentum. But there's still a lot of things that we can be much better at on both sides of the ball for me. So I've said from the beginning that the one thing with these players is that we can always draw on their mentality and their willingness to run and fight for each other. And we've seen that at such a high level in, I think, every game. And so, we need to get better with the ball. We need to get better at counter-pressing. We need to get better at in transition moments, creating clear chances. But at the same time, I'm really happy with the daily work, and I can't ask for more from the guys.
This is a game with big significance at both ends of the table. Do you expect the title race and relegation to go right down to the wire? And are you surprised that at the bottom that perhaps that points threshold to stay up is higher than maybe was expected a few weeks ago?
So first, I'm used to being on the other end of the spectrum, fighting for the title. And I know that a lot of times playing against the relegation foes, it can be a pesky match. And that's our job on the day, is to make the match pesky for Man City. I think that the league is so good, and my respect for every team is so high, that it's just comes down to the focus and concentration for every game. And I say that all the time, but I don't have energy for more. I'm sorry. I don't have energy to think about the table and how other teams are doing and what it's going to look like at the end of the year. I assumed from the very second that I took the job that I was going to be knee deep in everything until May 22nd, and I think it'll stay that way. But again, I think our focus and concentration to work to get better has been really good, and so we have to stay with that. Yep.
Adam?
Hey, Jesse, a couple of positional things. How close is Junior Firpo to, say, pushing the likes of Stuart Dallas to reclaiming a place?
Yeah, we worked with Stuart a lot with Junior a lot in the last days, and we're hopeful that we can get him fitter and closer to helping the group. And I think that he can help the group because the best thing that he can provide is, I think, ease with the ball from the left back position, which can help us have some more solutions and find control of the game a little bit more. Whether this is the match for that and to see is he fully ready, we'll just have to evaluate over the next couple of days. But he's looked good in training and I've told him to be ready because we will need him for sure. And then for me, Stuart has been fantastic. His mentality and his work rate and his ability to understand what the games require is at such a high level. And I know that left back is not his preferred position or his best position. So yeah, I think the goal is to get Junior closer and closer to being ready to help us, and then to find other ways to use Stuart.
And in midfield, obviously, you made a change during the game the other night. How big a decision is it to go alongside Calvin, whether it's Robin or whether it's Mateus?
Yeah, I think first it wasn't anyone's best game, and then Clicky and I spoke after the match and spoke about the things that we thought could be better, and then discussed how to handle the tough moments as well. But I really like Clicky. I think he's a really good player, and I love his personality, and he's been a big part of our successes that we've had together so far. So we're going to need him for sure. And then, him and Robin provide different things when they play in that role. Obviously, Mateus is a more attacking player and Robin's a more defensive player. But I think there's different times for different needs for different situations. I could see that in the match we were struggling with the ball, and that even though Clicky normally helps us in those situations, I knew that defending in that moment was going to be the biggest factor because Crystal Palace was having the ability to unbalance us at times. So, yeah, I think it worked out okay. Getting the draw was important for us, but Mateus and Robin will continue to be important as we go forward.
It's clearly you're getting the results that you require at the moment, Jesse, but Dan James is 11 games and he gets now without goal. How keen are you now to maybe, in a game where you might only have one or two chances, to have a more natural centre forward, whether it be Sam or whether it be Joe?
Yeah, I think it's looking at every game, what does it require? And I know I've even spoken to Dan multiple times that I know this is not, again, his desired position or his best position. But even if I look at the game, we weren't always so dangerous in the first 60 minutes, but either was Palace. We'd controlled them a bit more and it's a lot of the times because Dan's ability against the ball and in pressing situations and making it difficult on the opponent and being a threat to get in behind means that we are able to control what they are doing at moments better. And when we took Dan out, then the game got pushed a little bit more to our defensive end, and we had to hang on for the last stages of the match. So, yeah, I'm still trying to figure out how to use Dan in more wide positions, and then, yeah, do we put Jaffe up there more? Do we put Rodrigo up there more? Do we put Sam Greenwood up there more? Just trying to every day in training evaluate where we're at, and then think about tactically what we need in order to fight the best for points.
I know you've tried not to get too involved in the situation with Calvin and with Raphinha and where the futures might be, but IIIan Meslier, you talked about him a lot about how much quality he has. How keen are you that the club does the best to make sure that he stays beyond the existing contract, which I think some of the stands?
Yeah, in general, I cannot say that I've been happy with everybody and their commitment to be here. It's a unique situation that we have with our group and our team. We have a lot of talent too, and certainly when you talk about Raphinha and Calvin, that they're two I think big players for us, and I think IIIan's potential moving forward is huge. And the best thing that I think I've seen from him in the last weeks is more and more confidence, more and more stable. Even how I talked about how he didn't train at all before the Watford match, and then he came into the match and was almost flawless. I think that was a big moment in IIIan's career to know that, in big games, you need goalkeepers that are ready no matter what the circumstances are. And so, like I've said it already publicly, I'm not the best goalkeeper coach, but I understand the mentality of what the goalkeeper position requires. And so that's been a big focus of my work with IIIan, and I think he's responded great and played really well. So, yeah, in the end, the answer is yes, let's keep him.
Hi, Jesse.
Hi.
Just to clarify, you say that Tyler and Patrick are progressing well, but this weekend too soon for them?
Yeah, Tyler will be out for the year. So Tyler, Adam, and Crescencio now are done for the season. Patrick will not be ready, but I suspect and can probably expect that he will be on the pitch next week. So let's see. We have to, again, be cautious, but we're all optimistic about Patrick at this point.
And in terms of Manchester City, obviously for the neutral, thrilling game in the Champions League in midweek. What might it do to this game that it's in the middle of this huge semi-final for them that's taken them long out?
That team is full of winners and professionals. And of course, it's a massive goal of theirs to win Champions League and at least get to the final. But, I mean, how do you compare that versus winning the league? And they can't. If they have a slip up in the league, then that title's in jeopardy. So I expect a good team on the pitch. I expect a clear team on the pitch, and I expect them with a mentality to make sure that they do everything they can to get the result. So I in theory, looking at the fixtures, you'd say, okay, we're in between Real Madrid and Champions League. But given this, if it was maybe 4 points or 5 points that the lead was, I think it'd be different than it being 1. They can't afford to slip up, and we know that.
And I was really interested in what you said earlier about working out when to strategically be aggressive. Obviously, Ellen Rowe's going to be incredibly raucous. You can try and dictate that on the sidelines, but how much of it is about trying to get into the players' heads? Okay, that's the moment that you need to be on the pitch.
Well,
you might not be able to.
No, it's a good question, and it's about first the mentality of understanding that every moment, every second of the game is important, because if we're not ready or not totally connected in one moment, they're good enough to exploit that and be very dangerous. Now, our ability to be dangerous in moments will obviously affect how aggressive that they can be, right? Like I was at the Man City-Liverpool game, and Man City started out great with lots of really good moments, and they were aggressive in pushing forward. And then Liverpool was dangerous and was able to get a goal, and then Man City had to be a little bit more cautious. Obviously, we're not Liverpool, right? But if we can find moments like Real Madrid did to still be dangerous and nick a goal or at least put a little bit of fear in our ability to counter and to be effective with the ball, then it will affect how aggressive they can be. So that's really important. And then the tactical plan, right? That the players are very clear. We had a long video session today. We will have another one tomorrow. And that they are very clear with exactly what the tactical plan is and how to execute it on the day under a pressure situation. And I don't mean pressure of the result. I mean that the quality of the opponent and the intelligence of the opponent is so good that it forces them to have to be ready to run, but also ready to think. It's a challenge at the highest level, and we'll make sure that we'll do everything we can to be up for it.
That's great. Thanks so much.
Yep.
Graham, how did you come to discover that Raphinha has a long throw on him?
We had a contest in training. Because I asked the team if anyone had a long throw, and I've done this before, and they all said no. And I said, someone in here does. And I said, and my money's on Raphinha. And he did. So, it was dangerous, and we'll probably use it more in the future. And so we don't have a throwing coach like Liverpool or some other places, but we will try to see if we can be dangerous in those moments.
Do defeats like the one the team suffered the last time against Man City, does that leave a scar or any lingering fear in players that this is a team that can really hurt you?
I don't think so. I think we're all very clear that this is a team that can pile on the goals. I think we're focused on just being clear and being up for the challenge. In some ways, you can say there's nothing to lose, right? We're expected to lose this game every time. So I don't believe that, but I can see why that's the expectation in some ways. Our job is to again, strategically understand we know what they want the game to look like, and then what do we want the game to look like, and to see if we can find ways to still tilt the bar a little bit throughout the game to gain advantages in the ways that we want to gain advantages. Big challenge again, but we'll see if we can be clear on the day.
Thanks. Jesse, is there any value to looking at the win last season Leeds had at the Etihad, if not tactically then psychologically?
Well, I think two things: they were up a man, we were up a man.
No, City were up a man.
Oh, were they?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Thought it was the other way around. I haven't done that. I went back and looked at the first game that we played this year.
Okay.
Maybe I will. It's a good idea.
We talked a little bit about Stuart earlier and his positioning and how left back probably isn't his preferred or best position. He's played a lot in central midfield. I suppose we could envisage him playing alongside Calvin at some point if the squad allows. What do you see as Stuart's traits and attributes in that role alongside Calvin, and how that might be different or better than Mateus or Robin?
You're right. I haven't had chances to see Stuart in the six. I've gone back and watched him sometimes in that position to think about, okay, in the future, how can we still use him there? Because I know that is probably even his preferred spot, even though his national team coach was here a couple weeks ago, and he said that he has used him more as a wing back in a 3. So, I mean, his intelligence and his flexibility are an incredible strength. And when you see him play in the 6, I think he's also very effective there. And I think he can, even in the way that I'm trying to convert the team into playing, I think he can still be very, very good there. So, but I think he's also done a good job on the outside, the fullback position. So just trying to think about each player. You know, I know that Dan's not normally a striker. Robin's not normally a 6. Stuart's not normally a left back. But where we are and how we've gotten results, the roles have fit together in a way to help us still be effective in matches. Now each match is a little different, and so we have to think about what it means for the next coming match and phase. But I know that Stuart has more flexibility to play in the 6, and we will consider that moving forward as well.
Thank you.
Phil? The dilemma with City is that if you attack them, you can take a beating. If you're defensive, you can take a beating. Are you minded to be cautious this weekend, or how will you map it out?
No, I think I'm going to be pragmatic but aggressive. And we are going to be pragmatic but aggressive. You know, I think if you analyze them, they overload wide areas, and they're so good at crossing situations that even though they don't have much height up the field, they score almost every goal from wide areas. So we have to manage that, and we have to understand what that means, and then what options they create and movements they create, and how to try to limit those. And then when we win balls, how to try to be effective to catch them on the counter. And then in possession to still be confident and to try to unbalance them. So, yeah, I mean, for me, that's why I say they're the best team in the world. It's the quality they have, but also the way the manager teaches them to play the game. It's at such a high level. Such a high level.
Thank you.
Yep.
Stuart, go on. Jesse, you obviously, like everyone else, have watched lots of Manchester City before September's game. Did you learn anything from that game? You were that one?
Well, what was, on the day when we made such big mistakes in the 6-3 match we had, that it was really hard to evaluate what was good and what was bad on the day. The ways that we thought we could hurt them, we were able to find some chances and some goals. And the ways that we knew they could punish us, they did effectively. But we made such big mistakes in that game. I mean, really, really bad mistakes. But again, their play in wide areas is what punished us the most, and big switches. So, you have to try to close the space on one side of the field, but know that the ball can quickly go to the other side and that they can punish you over there. So, I think the game was about what I expected, other than the amount of mistakes we made.
And just following on from what Beren said, in terms of next season's squad, Are you looking to have more specialists in positions or to continue using this versatility?
I like having a team that's very flexible. Like we've played a lot of 4-2-3-1 so far. We started 4-2-2-2 and then now looks sometimes more like 4-2-3-1. I would like to have more flexibility with formations and with players in positions so that we can have also flexibility in how we play with the ball and how we play against the ball. We haven't been able to build that in enough because we're still getting through principles and ideas of how to play the way we want to play in a relegation fight where we have to fight for every point. So it makes the project, it stunts the project in certain ways because we have to focus so heavily on results, which I never like to do. But in the process, we found a way to continue to try to transform into what we will become, but also with being very pragmatic to get results.
Thank you very much.
Dave, go on. Jesse spoke there about City, best team in the world. Have they got an aura about them?
Yeah. They've got an aura, they've got quality, they've got they've got everything. Money, they've got success, they've got expertise, they've got everything, so it's incredible to have these kinds of clubs, in the world that in our sport are just so dominant in almost every phase. And then they, also the makeup of what the club is in terms of the network of other clubs that they're connected with, and the power behind this club and this team is incomparable. It's incomparable. So yeah.
I was going to say this is your latest maybe duel within the City Football Group. Going back to when you were Red Bulls and New York City FC and all that. So it sort of continues the story really.
Yeah, I mean, we've had, I think there's some parallels between what Red Bull is and what City is, and then, certainly that we experience very heavily in New York. My respect for everything that City has done is at a very, very high level. We were similar in Red Bull, but different, or whatever. But I like the setup that I'm in now. I like where the identity of the club is so strong and it fits with who I am. I think that's the key when you're a manager is finding something that resonates with the identity of what you are as well. And I like I don't have to tell the players much that they have to work hard because that is so ingrained into what the club is. And then for us, it's just about how to continue to take steps forward, to continue to grow and become bigger and bigger in the way that we think the fans deserve. Because I think, again, the fan support, the intimacy of what the stadium atmosphere is and what the experience between the club and the team and the fans is and what the city is and being a one city team and all these kinds of things, it's very unique and special in the world of football as well. So that's what my focus is just trying to maximize our potential and achieve our potential.
Okay. Jesse, how hard will it be, but how important is it that you and the players keep calm and hold your nerve if the next 3 games against City, Chelsea and Arsenal don't go your way?
Well, I think the key is, again, game by game and to stay focused in the game for what it requires. And if we can do that, then I think we give ourselves the best chance. And then, we can't waver. We haven't wavered yet, and we can't waver. We have to stay strong. We have to believe 100% in who we are and how we do things. And we have to keep pushing forward every single day. That's the most important thing, and we've had that. And that part has been a key to our success, and it will continue to be so.
And what are the attributes of a pesky? You used the word pesky.
Annoying, pesky. I think dangerous as well. So, I think we have to, again, the pragmatism of understanding that we have to be aggressive, but we have to understand where to be aggressive, why to be aggressive, and how to be aggressive. And then how to make sure that we are addressing exactly the things that make them the strongest and trying to eliminate or at least contain those things. So, and then still play to our strengths. That's key. So, big challenge.
Hi Jesse, the story you told earlier about the phone was quite illuminating and pointed to kind of an atmosphere on your training field of kind of, I don't know, kind of people being collegiate, kind of not just listening to you, but kind of talking to you as well. How important to you is the atmosphere that you have here, and also how important is it for you as a coach in a country you've not worked in before to listen as well as to impart your knowledge?
Yeah. I maybe early on I was talking a lot about philosophical mumbo jumbo when people were asking me about who I am. Who I am as a leader is not about being an iron fist and hierarchy. I'm about valuing people and opinion, and I'm about ownership. I'm about this is not a reflection of me, that this is a reflection of us. And that requires me to have dialogue, conversation, give and take, and to be a good listener. Even with any situation we've had this year, I think the players are not used to a manager and a leader like that. And that's not just me comparing me to Marcelo. It's just in general, I don't think there's a lot of coaches that have that kind of leadership style in our sport in Europe and in America for that matter. But this is what I valued most as a player, is I would do anything for the coaches that I knew actually cared about me, knew who I was, and wanted me to be better and wanted me to be successful. I would do anything for those coaches.
I would imagine it's easier to manage that way if you are at the top of the league or comfortable in mid-table. Being where you are at the moment is undoubtedly stressful. It's stressful for the players, it's stressful for staff, it's stressful for supporters. It must be very stressful for you. Can you stick to those principles even in a tense situation like the one you face at the moment?
They're more important then. For me, this business is so much about when it's difficult, what are you? Everybody's good when it's easy. Everybody is good at what they do and they're happy, and it's when it's difficult. How much can you stick to your principles, to stick to the things you believe in, and do you walk the talk, right? So that's what I know is I want to be my best when it is the most difficult, and I want to stay true to exactly what I believe in, and that is people, and that is the power of people. And so we've had tough discussions along the way. It's not always been easy here. We're always trying to find positive reinforcement, but at times I have to be very clear when we're not meeting standards, and to make sure that as a group that we do not allow ourselves to accept anything in the moment other than what we believe is our best.
And finally, for me, I was at the game, I think it was your second game at home against Aston Villa, when the players frankly looked nervous, anxious about playing in front of that crowd.
Yeah.
What's changed in the 4, 5, 6 weeks since that game?
Well, for me, for sure, it was a revelation that our most places I've been, the power of the home stadium is only positive. And I don't mean this negatively toward our fans. I just mean the players want to achieve so hard for the fans that sometimes that desire can have a negative effect. And then when the fans don't see that the players are playing at their best, then they become nervy and disappointed, and the whole energy of the stadium can shift. And that was interesting for me to experience. So we talked a lot in the next days, and moments like that when it's not perfect are when, again, the leader has to be at his best. And I had a lot of conversations, and I was very straight with the group, and we were very straight with each other that we have to be strong, and we have to know that in these kinds of moments, that's when we need to play our best. So I think, the start of the Norwich game for me was a big, not even the result and how it finished. The start of that game said a lot. Like the first half, that's probably our best half of football, actually, is the first half against Norwich. There's been different things that have happened along the way, and every moment has required a few different things. And the ability for me to have my finger on the pulse of exactly what's happening is vital. And then for me to communicate that effectively and make sure that the players are engaged in whatever that is so that we can move forward positively and always be up for the next challenge. So that's what this has been. It's been, the football is the foundation for now creating that kind of mindset.
Jesse, what are Leeds' traits as a club and as a team that echo your identity?
Hard work, aggression, working defensively, fighting for everything. Yeah. And trying to entertain along the way. I think that's what I resonate with. And so, you know, we haven't been as effective in the attacking part of the pitch as I would have hoped from moving forward. But I also knew coming in that shoring up the defensive part of the pitch was the most important thing. But we need to get better at commanding the game with the ball, and certainly then finding ways to score more goals and be aggressive in transition moments.
Okay, thanks.
Good. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Jesse.